I don't know what kind of legs we're going to be able to get off of this, but if we want to return back to the deep well that is AI, as it seems to be the thing that we keep coming to. There was a thread on Twitter that I saw today that is probably just one of the bleakest things that I've seen in a while. And it's this guy who posted about a beta Photoshop thing called generative fill. And it's like, so they'll take a scene from a movie and using AI will pull out. So there's like the one that I'm looking at right now, it's a close up from the good, the bad, and the ugly. And then it kind of like zooms out and like the AI fills in the space in the background. But it's like doing it to all these really famous movies. But there was a comment from Austin Walker. You might know who that is. But
sounds like
Friends. He's the guy from Friends at the Table. Like that, like it's like a D&D podcast. But just this phrasing is really good. He's like, I'm cackling. These Prima Guides minded motherfuckers. There aren't secrets hidden off screen. The work isn't incomplete. The work is the work. But it's like someone took like the two suns in the sunset scene from Star Wars and like, what's going on beyond the film? And it just seems completely antithetical to the medium of filmmaking and art. So I guess, I don't know if it's something we can all talk about or if it's just a rant that I can go on, but there's something.
Okay. Well, it's fun. Maybe we can
converge the two ideas.
Well, sorta, because the one that I got, it mentions AI at least.
Okay.
Because I found a new review of our show.
Where?
Oh
wait.
Apple Podcasts, I think. What?
I thought you were gonna say you had like ChatGPT write a review. Did you? Oh no.
This rating is it's 2 out of 5 stars, and the review is, there will be duds misses the mark with an excessive focus on AI that detracts from their cinematic exploration. While the podcast promised a deep dive into movies, I found myself increasingly frustrated by the constant diversion into AI-related discussions. The hosts failed to strike a balance, neglecting the engaging film analysis I had hoped for. Regrettably, this podcast falls short of delivering a satisfying cinematic experience and may not appeal to those seeking a more focused, movie-centric discussion. And yes, I did just have ChatGPT write this for
me. I opened up the podcast app so fast on my phone. Like, where is this? Let me see this. Damn, that's crazy.
I asked it to write a negative review, and then as you started talking about AI, I was like, okay, now rewrite the view and include a critique about how much they talk about AI.
Yeah, ChatGPT's like, my pleasure. Yeah, maybe that's too harsh.
Guys. Yeah. I was trying to think of like, since we do like, that has been like our default cold open, or they end up in the AI territory lately. I was like thinking like it just like completely generating a cold open with ChatGPT, and just don't actually what I did try to do the other day, what gave me the idea for this is I was trying to, it's hard. I think if you want, at least with ChatGPT, with this open source stuff, I'm sure there's more like the more private ones, or the ones that people like make themselves, probably a bit more refined than this. Here, I think if you want to get what you want, you gotta really know like how to explain the thing to ChatGPT. Because what I tried to do, like what gave me the idea for this, is I told it to generate the lost emails between Jonathan Four and Natalie Ford.
Yeah.
And actually the language, it kind of like the kind of cringy indie-ness of it I think it gets the language pretty well. But I was like,
weird.
I was like, yeah, but talk about how he's like wants to leave his wife for her. But then it's like it doesn't do it right. And
yeah.
so I kept like refining it, and then I ended up going into now write a response from Natalie as if she were VJ Emmy from a Hollywood movie. And then I was just going down this rabbit hole of like making it more and more ridiculous. So it's kind of fun.
Did it?
Yeah.
Did it?
It's fun as a novelty.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's yes, but it's not quite like as accurate as I was hoping.
It's like, it's Natalie, Israel, #1 country.
Yeah, there's none of that stuff. When it's like, well, yeah, that would be in there.
Israel.
Yeah.
It also the first time I had it write a Wakaliwood thing, it ended with P.S. Wakanda forever, and I'm like, nope, that's not right.
No, wrong.
Wrong. But it mostly just like it's writing the gist of the email, and then it'll insert like references, like almost like a Friedberg and Seltzer thing, where it's like, this is an email exchange between these two people, and also Tiger Mafia, da 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 da,
yeah.
VJ Emmy, da da da. That's kind of what I mean with how it's still kind of rough around the edges, or it's just me and I need to
get better at prompt engineering.
Yeah, I guess so. I thought about. No, I'll save it because I might be able to still implement this later. We'll see.
Okay, all right.
Because
I
can
work
work on
continued.
Since I just like won't pay attention when you guys are talking during the discussion, and I'll.
Oh, cool. Great.
Welcome back, ladies and gents. This is episode 101. We're in the triple digits. I don't know how long I'm gonna be able to keep this up.
Season 1, episode 1.
Yeah. Of There'll Be Duds, and I'm your co-host TJ, aka J-Spot Jack G's, and with me, as always,
I'm Nick, aka Dr. Funk on Twitch, and with me, as always,
I'm Tommy, aka Moose,
and as always, we watched a movie this week. This week we watched a movie.
Yes.
And that movie this week is The Nice Guys from 2016, directed by Shane Black. It follows two private investigators in the 1970s as they get embroiled in this investigation into like the porn industry. There's a porn actress an adult lady actress or whatever they say.
A porno young lady.
A porno young lady, that's it. Who dies. So they're investigating her death and also the disappearance of another girl in the industry, as well as like kind of ties into some stuff with like the auto industry. But mostly it's just a fun action comedy romp where you get to hang out with some alcoholics and loners for a couple hours. Yeah. And yeah. Well, what did you guys think? Well, I know what Nick's think. Well, what do you think, Tom? Well, let's you can take the floor, I guess.
This was exactly that. It was a fun little movie. You know, it made me laugh a few times. The plot was kind of a little crazy.
It can get a little convoluted.
Yeah, it was a little convoluted, and like by the time that we found out that the mom works for the DOJ, I was like, okay, this movie is kind of going off the rails. And then it continued in that direction.
Yeah, it starts out very small scale and then opens up to just grand conspiracies.
Yes. But yeah, I had fun.
This is one of those where I gotta watch myself because I could just quote my favorite parts for the entire episode, probably, because there's so many good like one-liners and so like good little asides that like you almost, I don't say you don't miss it, but it's just like you grow to appreciate all the different one-liners that maybe, you know, you didn't catch the first time around. Just really subtle things. I think the physical acting, like the physical comedy in this, is really good. I think Ryan Gosling really puts his whole ass out there from the beginning scene where he's getting his arm broken. I love that he's just on the ground and he reverts to almost like a child, where he's just like, no.
Yeah, I love
It's
that.
like,
Your left arm. Give me your left arm. This one. No. Yeah, come on. No. No. Did you cut yourself? I'm dealing with an injury. Right. Look, when you're talking to your doctor, just tell him you have a spiral fracture of the left radius. No. No. Deep breath.
So my history with this movie is that, like, I did not see it when it came out, didn't think much of it. In my mind, I just associated it with other movies of the time period of 2016. So I thought it was gonna be just a dumb, like, Seth Rogen, Judd Apatow style stoner comedy, whatever. I didn't think anything of it. And then a couple years later, my brother was like, "Have you seen The Nice Guys?" I was like, "What that?" I think I conflated it with, like, The Other Guys, because I think those two came out around the same time. And I had seen The Other Guys, and I was like, there's some funny parts. Then it was just, like, really, like, that sort of, like, repeat the joke over and over and over again till it's funny, but it's not really that funny to me. That style of humor that I was like, oh yeah, that movie. He's like, no, you should watch it. It's really good. And then, yeah, like 4 years after it came out, I watched it. I was like, holy shit, this is incredible. And I'm probably part of the reason why there isn't multiple Nice Guys movies, because I feel like when this movie came out, the people that saw it loved it, but there were few and far between the people who saw it, which is why there's not a Nice Guys cinematic universe currently.
Yeah,
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I think, I mean, if you were to do sequels of this, you would run the risk of, like, retreading water, and, like, it's hard to do sequels that live up to the hype of the first one. But
Yeah.
if you have the core cast together plus Shane Black, I feel like they could pull it off. Like, I was watching like the Blu-ray special features before we hopped on, and there's, like, a behind the scenes featurette, and, like, Shane Black was talking about how there were multiple different, like, mysteries and storylines that they had written for this that they could have used. And there's, like, one part where he's like, you know, I'm not saying sequel, but, you know, sequel. Like, it seemed like that was definitely on their mind. It's something they wanted to do, and I think it's probably not going to happen now. You know, maybe we can hold out, but who knows?
I think that the sequel would be just as good as this movie was.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I think this movie accomplished what it set out to do, which was make me laugh sometimes, and also tell me tell me a story. and I think that the sequel would do that too. You know, I don't love this movie. It was just kind of a regular ass movie to me.
Okay. Interesting.
I was like, we've been watching all these, like, incredible like masterpieces, you know, Tremors and
I agree.
Memento, and what was that one with the mobsters?
Miller's Crossing.
And now I feel like I'm watching, like, just a movie from 2016. You know?
Okay. I think this is a masterpiece.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, same. I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I adore this movie. This movie is like, this is a warm blanket movie for me.
Yes.
Where I can just sit in it and just have a good time. Even if I don't, like, laugh out loud at it as much as I did, like, the first time I saw it. It's just a good hang with my pals Holland and Russell Crowe. Fuck. Healy.
Yeah.
Healy. I don't know what his first name is, but his last name's Healy in it. Yeah, you mentioned, or one of you mentioned Ryan Gosling's, like, aspects of his performance. I think in my obviously in my opinion, this whole fucking thing is my opinion. That I think this is his best performance at ever. I think this is his best performance in a movie. I think his comedic, and it's funny because you don't see him do comedy as much, or like maybe he'll have like a comedic aspect to his character, like in The Big Short. He's kind of like a cocksure, I can't remember exactly his role in that, but he's kind of like, he comes in and he gives this big speech like Alec Baldwin and Glenn Ross type thing, and but this is like his most outright comedy role, and he's fucking perfect. His physical comedy, I think he plays a really good drunk. I think he's great. I think he's awesome in it, and he sells the, like, he's a loser alcoholic, but he's also very charming, and he sells it really well, I think.
Hi everyone.
Hey.
I'm Amelia. She's about dark hair and answers to the call of the wild. Just kidding.
What?
I forgot her name, but if you see, let me know and tell me my name.
I mean, again, that first shot you get of him, you think, all right, he's taking a bath, and then it pulls up and he's in a full suit in the bathtub, and it's like, oh, okay, he's passed out because he's a drunk.
Yeah,
Oh,
Ryan
man.
Gosling's performance was pretty good. He was also in the rom-com Crazy Stupid Love. Have you guys seen that one?
No.
No.
It's another regular movie, so you guys would love it, I guess.
Okay. All right. I think one of the parts that gets me every single time too is when he goes to the bar to try to get the guy to pull receipts, and he just has his little $5 bill, and he's just he's like, "Is that a shirt?"
Origami T-shirt.
Yeah. He's like, "Yeah,
that's right.
It's very pretty. I made this." And then he goes to try to break in, and like, I love when it's realistic when it wants to be, and it's outrageous when it wants to be. Like, it's realistic when he goes to try and break into this place. Mm-hmm. There's plenty of times where I think Ryan Gosling's character especially acts like he thinks things should go based on like action movies that he's seen. Like, there's just scenes where he gets in a car and he thinks that he can just peel out and take off and it's gonna be fine. And then at the first sign of like losing control, he just crashes the car
And screeches.
yeah. But it's like, he's he goes to like break into this bar to pull the receipts, and he's got like the little towel wrapped around his head, and he's like all right, and then he just and just, oh, that's a lot of blood. And, like, just smash cut. He's in the back of like an ambulance. Like, we're losing him.
Yeah.
It's just
great. He wants to be what like Russell Crowe's character is, pretty much.
Yeah.
Russell Crowe's character is not that he's like perfect, like everybody is kind of like has their awkward moments or their like funny moments, but he is kind of the dude who, like, he walks in and he knocks a dude's teeth out, and then he's like, don't mess with young girls or whatever, and then he just walks out and, he's the cool guy and stuff. And oh fuck, I just said and stuff. I didn't even do that on purpose.
Just say there are whores here.
Yeah.
Again, like, but Russell Crowe he is very funny in a different way, but like, even like in that opening narration while he's waiting for like that dude and the underage girl to like waiting for her to leave, I love that he's like leaning against the dude's like the wall of his garage, and he's just throwing the sunflower seeds into the dude's front seat of his car.
Yeah.
Just like, what an asshole move.
Yeah. I guess Shane Black originally wanted this to be a TV series too. And
that was mentioned in the little making of thing.
The ending of the movie too really feels like it's like the end of like a pilot episode where they're like, okay, let's do a toast and move on to the next case type thing.
Yeah.
And it does, whenever I get to the end of it, I do get that feeling of like, man, I wish there was more of this. But at the same time, yeah, it's like, would that be like too much of a good thing? Should I, like, I'm not like bummed out that there's not more of this, because yeah, I often find that, a lot of my favorite TV shows are ones that are like one season or like very limited, because
Right.
so you add to it, like there's a show called The OA that I really, really enjoyed the first season, and then they made a second season and I was like, hell yeah. And then I finished the second season and I was like, that should have just been one season. That second season just did nothing. It made any goodwill, it made worse.
Yeah.
But I mean, if it was like I said, same cast and crew, I do have confidence in Shane Black, because he has done this style for multiple movies, like as far back as fucking Lethal Weapon, and
Shane
then
Black did Lethal Weapon.
yeah, he wrote it. I'm not sure if he directed that one.
He did not.
Wrote it. He did not. Okay.
Yeah, he wrote Lethal Weapon and Lethal Weapon 2.
Yeah.
Huh.
And then more recently to this, another one that I love, like much in the same way, because they are like, it's almost like a companion movie, you could call it, is Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. And
that's one I haven't seen, but
since you like this one as much as I do, I highly recommend it to you, Nick. I don't know, maybe if you're looking for like an easy, nice watch, but you know,
I'm looking for a regular movie to watch.
Sure. But and then also Iron Man 3. I also put Iron Man 3 in with these, because that's like, I love, that's part of why that's like one of my favorite MCU movies, is because
Which one was Iron Man 3?
it's the one with Guy Pearce is the bad guy, but they think it's Ben Kingsley for most of it. It's the guy from Memento. He's the bad guy.
Oh, okay.
The main guy from Memento he's like it's with extremists. They're like injecting all these people with this stuff, but is making them explode, and then they're like using people as bombs.
This does not sound familiar to me. Have I not seen Iron Man 3?
I don't know. You
Look at
should.
some
It's
Is
one
it
of,
like this movie?
well, I mean, it's like an MCU movie too, but it's like with the Shane Black like turn. I don't know. It's
he has a certain
there's more
like
to, like,
style and like sense of humor that I think you would, not to do another episode trashing the Russo brothers, but I think Shane Black has more of a voice.
Sure.
Like a distinct, like, okay, yeah, I can tell that this is like a Shane Black movie.
Yeah, and also it helps that he, like Robert Downey Jr. feels like a guy that would work in one of his movies too, because he's one of the main guys in Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
Yeah. And he's in The Nice Guys.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
It's an uncredited cameo, but he is the body of Sid Shattuck. When he rolls down the hill and finds the dead body like leaning against the tree, that's Robert Downey Jr.
Is it really?
It is.
Yeah.
Huh.
That's another great abrupt like I guess lizard brain shit for me. Like they're like, we got to get rid of this body, and they're just like, all right, we'll throw him over the fence.
Uh-huh.
And then it just crashes on like a dinner table.
Yeah.
Run.
The kid that plays Chet is that's Jack Kilmer, who's Val Kilmer's son, and he's the other lead from Kiss Kiss Bang Bang too. So I thought that was maybe his way of including Val, since Val couldn't really do it or whatever.
Yeah.
Why couldn't he do it?
Man, yeah.
Well, I mean I mean actually this might have been right in the thick of it, but he has throat cancer, so he can't like talk anymore.
Ouch. That sucks.
And I think that was happening right around this time, so he was maybe even like doing surgery and shit for it now, or around when this was being filmed. Yeah, it's a bummer. But yeah, I don't know. I thought that was maybe a way of kind of involving him or including him or whatever.
Yeah, kind of like there needs to be like a super group movie with like Michael Gandolfini, Cooper Hoffman,
All the children of the
all like the children of like these famous like leading men who.
Well, there probably will be with, you know, how much nepotism there is in Hollywood. So
Well,
eventually,
yeah, true. But these are the good ones, damn it.
Yeah, this was a funny movie. There were a lot of funny parts. Like the name of the actress is Misty Mountains. Like that's funny. It's a funny reference,
yeah.
you know. But I feel like, and I guess Lethal Weapon does this too, but in its own way. Just kind of like pauses the entire plot just to do something funny for a little bit,
Yeah.
and then you resume the plot.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I wrote down some examples. Like, some of the stuff that Ryan Gosling did when he was drunk the first time at the party.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't write down any of the things though. I wish I had.
Swimming with the mermaids.
Yeah, swimming with the mermaids. Exactly.
Oh yeah.
Like, where
Yeah.
we cut between Ryan Gosling and Russell Crowe, and Russell Crowe's actually like doing something, and then Ryan Gosling isn't. And I know that, and I get that that's the joke, like that's part of it, in that scene. But like later, when they're riding in the elevator on the way to the top of the penthouse, and he's just talking about like how eunuchs
Munich.
are. Yeah.
Yeah.
Using the word wrong for eunuch. And then he has this fun fact about Hitler's genitalia.
Yeah.
And then the movie keeps going. And it's like, you could have cut that scene from the movie,
Mm-hmm.
and the movie would have been just as good. You know?
Yeah.
Like, so I wouldn't say that this movie never wasted a moment, because sometimes it kind of created moments just to have them.
Mhm.
And like movies like this are supposed to do that.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
They're not here. This movie isn't here to make me like really think deep thoughts like Memento or Tremors, you know? Like this movie is here to make me laugh for a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it made me, and it did that. And I liked that.
See,
Yeah.
that's Chloe's favorite joke, like in the entire movie, is that like he's talking to the bartender in the hotel lobby, and then he's like, what are those guys called? And then they're going up the elevator, and he just like, Munich. and he's like,
Yeah.
what? He's like, yeah, you know, they got no testicles. He's like, Munich is a city in Germany. Just like the delivery is like so good. And,
At first I
oh.
thought that the subtitles were wrong. I was like,
Oh,
Munich.
that's funny.
Oh, and like the hotel scene is like one of my favorites. It's pretty subtle, but and like when they get up there, and I like love the way they both turn and look,
Yeah.
and there's just like carnage,
Yeah.
and then they very quickly just like go back into the elevator, and you can just, if you listen, you can hear Ryan Gosling clicking like the closed door button, like he's like he's like slowly losing his composure. And just like as they're going down, the dude just bursts through the glass. It's like, ah! It's
Yeah, I actually I was like stumbling around because I was like, why can't I think of like any, I'm like, but like I didn't even have my fucking notes open.
yeah.
So that would have helped. And I actually have a note that I put that I love all of the random conversations that only serve the purpose of character and relationship building. Like the one that I reference is the dying guy in Richard Nixon. And like it's kind of a perfect example of what you're talking about, and almost the movie like pointing out that these are like pointless scenes where Russell Crowe goes on this whole thing, is like, oh, and then he saw, you know, like that he saw Richard Nixon before he died, and he's like, well, what do you think like the dying guy thought? And then he's like,
It's the same situation, just a vastly different point of view.
So there's two ways to look at something.
Yeah,
That's
right.
the point of the story?
Yeah.
Yeah, just say that.
What?
But you just lead me on this epic fucking journey with the story, and 10 minutes later, the point is that there's two ways to look at something. You could just say that.
And it's like that's the movie like acknowledging like, yeah, we didn't need to have this in here, but we're going to, because like the movie isn't concerned with like, you know, the movie knows what it is, and like you say, this is just a movie, just a regular movie, and I would agree to the extent of like, yeah, it doesn't make you think any, like you said, any big thoughts like some of the other movies that we've done, but I don't know, a movie like this can still be, I can still like love as much as something like Amadeus or. I'm not saying whether, you know, I do like, but I'm saying like on the same level as like some of like my favorite movies.
It's not like
it just I go into this in like a previous episode because I remember when I was trimming or like skimming the old episodes for trivia stuff. But it's like a movie can, like, you know, not every movie is going to max out 10 out of 10 on every single aspect or every criteria that I'm looking for. But it's like, if it makes up enough, and then, you know, it's not like I have like, you know, a set list of like, this is 10 things that a movie has to have for me to like. It's, you know, it can be minutia. It can be something like I don't even think of until I see it in a movie or whatever. But it's like, you know, if a movie has enough of some of those things, then it's like, yeah, hell yeah, that's an awesome movie to me. So it's, it's not thought-provoking, but it's like I said, it's fun, it's funny. I think there's a lot of great, like, performances to appreciate. Something that I adore with Shane Black in particular, and this is super prevalent in Kiss Kiss Bang Bang and even Iron Man 3. It's one of my favorite things about Iron Man 3. Is the action. I love how Shane Black does action, where it's just people. It's like, in all three of those movies, the climaxes are the heroes basically tripping and falling their way into saving the day. Like the climax of Iron Man 3 is Tony Stark brings in like all of his past Iron Man suits. They're all like self-flying, self-controlling, but they're like all buggy. They don't work quite right. He's just kind of like he's doing like test flights, but he like has to bring them in because he needs the help or whatever. And he's literally like jumping from suit to suit, and they all like get destroyed or like break. So he's like jumping into a suit, and then he'll like run into a wall or something, and then he'll have to go like find another suit. And it's the Marvel
I have
equivalent
seen this movie.
Oh, okay.
I remember that scene.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So and that's the Marvel Cinematic Universe equivalent of Ryan Gosling like falling onto like the glass and breaking through, and then like running after the film reel. And he's like, I think I can't die. I think I'm invincible. It's the only thing that makes sense.
Dumb action is like perfect. Like when they're at the Detroit Auto Show and he lands on like the spinning car wheel, and he's like he's like all right trying to get himself composed, and by the time he's composed and ready to turn over the hood, the car is already spun around and he's just like open to fire. Or like I think one of the biggest laughs is like the big confrontation with John Boy at his house, and Russell Crowe was like kind of leaning against the kitchen, and he's like gun, and he goes to throw the gun to him, and it just goes right through the window.
Yes.
just like very, very like that is actually how that would go if he did that, but just like very dumb, clumsy, where they're not action heroes. It's like, it's super messy. And part of the behind the scenes that I was watching earlier, I got to see like from the ground perspective that scene near the end where both Ryan Gosling and Keith David go over the roof. Ryan Gosling lands in the pool, and Keith David just like lands and like explodes. But they clearly, I think it was a combination of like practical effect and CGI. Like I think him falling was CG, but they must have had a dummy rigged with squibs and like fake blood packets, because it was like because it showed that from like the ground level perspective, and it was just like just exploded. So it's like, okay, cool, they actually had like a physical thing for that.
That's funny.
That's cool. When they're the mom's assistant
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
has the gun and is pointing it at the
Yeah.
our protagonists,
Mm-hmm.
and then she
Holly.
just like slips on coffee
Yeah.
and knocks herself out.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, that's
Yeah,
convenient.
but it was set up because Holly thought that she was gonna like burn her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, why did you just throw cold coffee on me?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I thought it was hot. And he's like, I like where your head was at, sweetheart.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's good. That was funny.
Yeah. That
Yeah.
that whole scene is pretty solid. I love.
Yeah, and then
Sorry, finish.
oh yeah, another thing that kind of happened just randomly is like they like I think they found Amelia just randomly.
She
one
literally that was another note that I wrote down, is that like how like I don't think the movie is like taking the plot too seriously, because so many elements literally fall into their laps. Like
Yes.
Amelia, the person that they're looking
Yeah.
for most of the movie, they're like leaving and they're like, oh, she's dead, she's gone, and she literally lands on top of their car and she's just there.
It's interesting because her character kind of lives and dies by that.
Yeah.
Like through just pure happenstance. Like, you know, they kind of get her and like she explains what's going on, kind of tells them what her mom is up to and like the conspiracy.
Mm-hmm.
And then as soon as she leaves, like they get John Boy to leave, and then she escapes and flags a car down, and sure enough, he just like
Boom.
Yeah. Yeah, and he even says like, oh well, he says something like, oh, that's lucky, or something like that.
yeah.
At one point, yeah.
Yeah.
That scene after like Amelia dies, I love the song that plays. I think the soundtrack to this is really, really, it's just like a noir, like kind of down tempo song with like a trumpet playing kind of like a solo. Like it's very melancholy, but it's melancholy noir, and I love like that sort of like smoky, slow jazz noir music. And this movie kind of balances between like Shaft style like funk and like that classic noir music. But that scene in particular, I love the song that plays. It's like kind of like daybreak is just coming up and the cops are all there, and they're just like they're kind of down because they're like, damn, she got
fucked
away
up.
and got killed. Yeah.
There was I combed the IMDb trivia and I did some Googling. I couldn't find anything confirming this, but I feel like this has to be a reference to Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. But as weird as that would be, but Shane Black does like to do little random references, so maybe. But what is it? It's Ryan Gosling is narrating. It's near the beginning, and he's just kind of doing like his, oh, this is my philosophy on detecting and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And he's like, he says, I don't care if Colonel Mustard did it in the study with the candlestick, and that's the exact that's the thing that when they play Clue against death in Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, and
that's
death's
the solution.
accusation is that, and I'm like, I was trying to like think of like the how many different combinations of accusations there can be in
What are the
Clue, and I'm
odds
like,
that it would be
it's
just
gotta
like this?
be, right? It's gotta be. But yeah, I picked up on that one like immediately because I don't know. Bill and Ted, those movies are like ones where it's like, I will instantly recognize like a line or anything from those movies.
Yeah.
And then another little trivia thing I picked up on. I'll send you guys a picture because I'm assuming you probably won't remember her. But so you know it's interesting. The grandma of Misty Mountains is Lois Smith, who is the bartender in East of Eden. She's been
No way.
Yeah, she's been working for a while.
Huh.
She's still alive too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that.
It's just whenever I like, I'll see her in something new. Like when I saw this, I'm like, Jesus! It it's always weird, and I mean, obviously they're becoming, fewer and fewer, but I guess especially with James Dean since he died so young, but like it feels so separate, it's like, oh man, that was ages ago, but then it's like, she's in this movie, she's doing fine. It's like,
yeah,
that's crazy.
It kind of connects you with that old school Hollywood,
yeah,
in a way.
Wild.
Yeah,
that's wild.
At the end with when they basically like nab her mom, she's like, I didn't have my daughter killed, Detroit had her killed. and March is like, oh yeah, the whole city took a vote. Huge turnout. There's like so many good little quips like that, or like at the bowling alley when all the kids are like smothering him, he's like,
Jesus Christ, one at a time.
You took the Lord's name in vain.
No, I didn't, Janet. I found it very useful, actually. Okay, Janet?
He's like, or when they come home after they get Amelia, and he's like, why are you guys still here? And he's like, sorry, Mr. March, my sister has a boy over. And he's just like, your sister's such a slut. Keeps walking.
She goes, I know.
Jeez.
So you're telling me you made a porno where the plot is the point?
How old was Holly supposed to be?
14, right?
I'd
I think
say,
they say 14
or 15, something
Okay.
like
they
that.
say
I
her
couldn't
name at
tell.
some point. It's either 13 or 14.
Okay.
I feel like that's probably
Yeah.
about how old the actress was. She seems like a child to me.
Yeah, she was born in 2001.
Yeah,
So she was 15.
14
Yeah.
to 15, yeah.
When they were
like when it
filming.
was filming, yeah. 14, 15.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
It was crazy. And like, Ryan Gosling's character had her driving his car and stuff.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if he's drunk
Yeah.
most of the time, it's probably
Yeah.
safe bet.
Yeah, I love that part after it's like, again, there's so many good jokes, but it's like right after they meet with Kuttner, Amelia's mom, who they're like, yeah, but
Oh yeah, that's what I want to bring up.
We're not cheap. We're not cheap, and like she's writing a check,
Yeah.
and she's about to write 10,000, and he's like, maybe $5,000, and she's like, okay, and like
Yeah.
throws the check away. But it's oh man, I thinking of that joke, I just lost my train of thought. What was I talking about? It's after they meet with Judith. She does that. Holy shit, I lost it. It's gone. It's gone. What was I talking about? No one knows.
So you mentioned Kim Basinger again, and I think it's kind of funny that or interesting, neat, I don't know, that both her and Russell Crowe were in a movie I almost said the 70s, in the 90s called L.A. Confidential. And her character doesn't quite line up as much, but he plays kind of like, I think he's a cop in that, but he's like an enforcer. He's kind of like a heavy, and it's in the 50s, it's in LA, and it's involved like kind of like a crime noir thing. So it's almost like this is like a 20 years later sequel to LA Confidential, and he's like just playing his character but older.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So maybe there is the Nice Guys cinematic universe.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Oh
I don't know.
damn,
We just
Guy
didn't know
Pearce
at
is
the
in it
time.
too.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Guy Pearce,
Whoa.
Kevin Spacey. It's got a pretty stacked cast, actually.
Danny DeVito.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
I haven't seen it in a while, so I don't know if there's like more. If there's more little connections you can make, or if it would fall apart if you watch it.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's not a perfect perfect through line or whatever.
Yeah, so the reason I brought up Holly was because I think the actress did a good job.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, she's great. Yeah.
I remember what I was gonna say.
Okay.
Here we go.
That's it was another scene with like kind of all of them. So it's like right after they get the check from the mom, and they're like basically Ryan Gosling's like, he's like, I don't know why we're not celebrating right now. Like, we gotta wait a couple days to get another installment like that. And there's like a line where he's like, what? Why is everyone mad? We're all having a drink in the afternoon, and he's like the only one.
Yes.
That's really all I wanted to reference was that scene, because I think that's like
That was funny.
that's one of those like where Holly's just like, yeah, you gotta not tell them anything for a couple days so they think that you're onto something, and then you ask for a second installment, and then he's like, and then Ryan Gosling's like, she's putting a negative spin on it, but yeah, that's basically it.
Yeah, she did an incredible job, I think, for someone who's like 14.
Yeah,
that was very
she has
believable.
Yeah,
she's the
she has like a
daughter of
really
this
good
alcoholic PI
yeah.
guy.
her comedic chops were really good in this.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, I agree. I think she is really good for. I think as much as I praised Ryan Gosling in particular, and I do think that he is the best of the cast, I think everybody's like pretty on their game. I think Russell Crowe does a really good job too.
Yeah.
Yeah, the daughter is good. The
Yeah,
villains
even
are
all
fun, in different ways. They're all like, you have like the professional with John Boy. You have I don't know if he has an actual name, but like the insane criminal with Blueface, and then you have Keith David kind of playing the in between.
Yeah, I think literally they're credited as Blueface and old guy.
Oh, okay.
That's awesome.
Nice.
I love that when like the paint goes off and his face is covered, and Russell Crowe's just like, it's like, is this how you planned on things going down today? Just like kind of belittling them the whole time.
Yes.
And then he's like throwing the fish at him.
Yeah.
Is this what you came here to do? Make me eat fish?
I felt so bad for those fish.
I did
Oh,
too.
yeah. Chloe hates that
Because
part.
we saw him feeding the fish when he woke up.
Yeah.
And so like it established a connection, and I was feeling those fish.
I know.
Yeah.
It makes me
And
feel
then they just
sad, too.
died.
Yeah. I know. I forget like that he like jumps out after that, because I'm always like, oh well, he'll just like pick them up and put them back when they leave, right? But I don't know. Probably not.
That's when he flips on the switch that like kind of reignites everything in his house.
Yeah.
And again, that's like such a fun little detail. Like, in order to probably save money on his bills, he just has everything set up so like one switch shuts all of his stuff off.
Yeah. Which at the beginning, the first time you see him in his apartment, right before he turns off all of his power, the TV, you get a shot of like the TV, and you see John Boy from the Waltons. You see John Boy specifically.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's funny. I didn't catch that.
Yeah, I think there's even like there's really subtle little things that you can, it makes the world feel lived in. But like, you see, there's one part where Ryan Gosling's, it's when he's shaving in his car, and he's reading a newspaper, and it says something about the killer bees in it.
Oh yeah,
which is like referenced
that's right.
later on in the film, and then
that's right.
Hannibal Buress plays the
big bee.
the dreamy,
Yeah. That's one bit that does kind of take me out of it, because it just sounds like Hannibal Buress, and it's because it's like just a voice that I can't like just not think of him.
Really?
Yeah,
and it's also
it's
I don't
a
know.
minor issue. It's not a huge deal, and it's short, so
yeah. It's like in a movie that's like realistically silly, I would say in a lot of ways, the sort of like CGI giant bee, I was like, that's a little too silly for me.
Yeah,
Really?
I mean, it's not. It's all right, because he's supposed to be dreaming, and it's establishing that like.
Yeah.
I mean, you already know. I love like the stuff before that, and the dream sequence. That's funnier for me when he's like, Ryan Gosling's like, man, I'm so tired. I wish I didn't have to drive. And then Russell Crowe's just like, yeah, didn't you know these things drive themselves now? And he's like, really? He's like, yeah, just take your hands off this wheel.
And it's like, oh.
It's just
I believed him at first. I was like, wait, I didn't know
Yeah.
that we had this technology back then.
That's what I mean. It's so smooth that you're like, wait, what the fuck? And then the bee shows up, and you're like, oh, okay. So like,
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I think that was just kind of silly, and that was a silly moment from a silly movie.
yeah,
I don't. It didn't take me out of it at all.
yeah.
'Cause
It's
I
just
wasn't
the
really there to begin
voice.
with, I guess.
It's just the voice, because he's like a comedian just doing his normal voice. I think that's the part in particular that
Yeah.
takes me out of it. It's like almost if they had like a voice actor just like do a voice, or or get the guy from Ed Wood to do. He'll do an Orson Welles bee. He can do that again, and that would take me out of it less.
One thing that did kind of take me out of it is two burned down houses in this movie. Like, they returned back to the idea of a burned down house after we already discussed a different burned down house. Because the guy's Dean's house burned down. We went there and we saw it, and then later it turns out.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah.
That Ryan Gosling and Holly, their house burned down, and it was on this lot or whatever that Holly goes to and hangs out at. And I'm like, oh, so we're burning houses down again? Like, okay.
Yeah, I kind of get what you mean. It's the one that they both like work
both have,
individually, but
Yeah.
I get what you mean, that it does seem like using the same device twice in one movie is a little weird, but it's like alone they work for the purpose. The burn down houses because like it was like Ryan Gosling, like it was something because he was drinking or not paying attention, or
he can't
smell.
smell.
Smells.
And like that killed his wife too, right? Or no, she just left him. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But they burnt their house down. And then the other one's like, because they were being threatened, and also film is extremely flammable, so it's just kind of
It was easy to make it look like an accident.
Yeah,
even.
yeah. So like, yeah, I see your point, but I guess it.
And that like, it doesn't bother me, but it is like an example of why this is just a regular movie to me.
Okay.
Sure.
I don't know. There's not a lot that I can like, a lot of like complaints that I hear about this, because it's not like, it's not cited amongst like the greatest movies of all time or anything by general movie critics, but it's like, that's all fair. It's just, for me, it's just
I just really liked this movie.
It's just fun. It's just fun, and when I can have fun with a fun movie, a lot of other stuff just kind of falls by the wayside in a sense. And I think that's kind of the way with like a lot of movies that I love that are a bit more artistically appreciated or something. 'Cause like I see a lot of issues with I guess Ed Wood. We did that last week, and I love that movie. Yeah, there's issues with that one too, but I love it. So
Right.
you make excuses for the things that you feel
Sure.
for, right? So
Totally.
I can't really like deny anything that you're saying. It's like, yeah, it is a convoluted plot.
Yeah.
Yeah, to the point where I think the first time I ever watched this movie, I found it funny, but it's like you have to really pay attention to like names and you have to pay attention to the details, because it's not like a movie that kind of beats you over the head with it,
Well, it's funny because this time we're watching it, and it's like near the beginning, and you see the old guy from Detroit, who's like there at the end. He's like kind of one of the main bad guys in a way.
Yeah.
But he's like on TV, and he says something, or I can't remember what, but Cleo was like, she's like, what did he just say? Did he just say this, or what did he just do or something like that? And I was like, who? And she's like, the guy, the auto guy. And I was like, who? And she's like, the old guy, the one who's like behind the whole, he's like the main bad guy behind everything. And I was like, I don't know. I was like, I don't know. I don't remember that guy. Like, because I'm not really like super concerned in like the conspiracy part of the movie, because it is a bit messy. I think it definitely helps that the movie, like I said, I think acknowledges these aspects. It acknowledges the empty scenes that it uses just for fun, or it acknowledges at least that's how I take it. That's how I hope, and it could just be me giving too much credit to the writing.
And it acknowledges the parts where they're like, oh, that was convenient.
Yeah, like that stuff too.
They'll actually say that out loud.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like a self-awareness of how convoluted some of the stuff is. Just like, oh yeah, she just fell right in front of our laps. Okay, cool, let's roll with it.
Yeah. Because then it can, invest more time into, building the relationship between these two characters, because I think that's all like Shane Black cares about, really.
Yeah. And it's a tight 90, and I feel like it's pretty.
No, it's almost 2 hours.
Is it? I thought it was a tight 90.
It's a tight.
That's 100.
It's a tight 116.
Well, it feels like a tight 90 to me sometimes. Because I feel like I was watching it and I was like, oh shit, they're already at the Detroit Auto Show. The movie's basically almost done. Like, I feel like it moves from location to location at such like a brisk pace that like
it is a quick-paced movie.
Yeah.
For a movie that's almost 2 hours, it feels like a tight 90. It feels like nothing was really, from my perspective, nothing really needed to be trimmed all that much.
I did want to note when I was looking at the trivia the other day, I had to go back to it to point out some of them are like interesting stuff. Like it includes the thing with like Robert Downey Jr.'s cameo, stuff like that you wouldn't know. That's cool. But then there's some that I'm trying to find the one that okay. This one's just the license plate for Misty Mountains Blue 1977 Pontiac Firebird Skybird reads Misty M. Ooh. The red Mustang with white convertible top is a 1967 with a 289 in factory AC. These are IMDb trivia written by Matt Sink. It was someone we went to school with.
That's great.
Yeah. Oh no! Okay, this one is awesome. It says the toast which ends the movie to the birds is delivered by two men with bird-based surnames, Crow and Gosling.
Holy shit! I never put that together.
Yeah,
that's creative.
Yeah, I guess that went over my head. That's like something that I would know, like as I'm, like in my old like notebooks that I, when I'm writing my, fanfics for Tremors and Dragon Ball Z.
Sure,
talking about,
as one does.
Yeah, where like as a 10-year-old, I would note these like very like, I don't know, like. You have to be thinking in a specific way to like pick that up, I guess. I don't know how to put it, but it just seems so silly.
It's something that's like super obvious that when you hear it out loud, you're like, oh yeah, that is right.
But also it's like, who would think of that? Who would?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah.
What did y'all think about Holly just like sitting in the middle of this field with a flashlight and a book reading out loud to herself?
It's a little silly. It's a little like,
I think
she's 14 years old. She doesn't need to read out loud to herself.
Yeah,
it's like she's both simultaneous. Well, it's like she's, you know, it's struggling between like being like a normal kid and also having a bizarre home life that is like completely unconventional and like probably different than anybody. Like she has no one that she can relate to, really. Like my dad's a alcoholic private investigator that I have to drive him around. So it's like, I think if I really had to like reach for stuff that doesn't like work for me super well, it's any of like the Holly stuff where they're like trying to make her more like the more sentimental stuff, like her being like,
don't kill the guy,
don't kill anybody, or like the Pinky Promise thing, which like maybe if the Pinky Promise had been like established that that's like a thing between them, but it is pretty good that like she's like Pinky Promise and he's like and then he's like fuck. Like like he really takes it seriously, like damn it, now I have to hold true to that.
The Pinky Promise works a little bit more for me than the other things that you guys mentioned, but I do agree that it would have been more effective if they had done it at least one other time prior to that. You know, maybe even just like a less.
They did call back to it.
Yes.
At the end of the movie.
Yeah.
He's like,
holding up his pinky.
Yeah.
One other thing that I thought was just kind of like a bad decision, a bad writing decision, is like when John Boy goes into the house to kill Amelia, and then he ends up, and then Holly kind of like, what does she do? She tries to get a gun, I think.
The gun out of the cookie jar.
Yeah, she gets the gun out of the cookie jar. And then at one point, John Boy just throws Jessica out of the window. And then leaves Holly where she is, walks out of the house to his car to get his gun because apparently he didn't have a gun with him or something. It's like giving Amelia plenty of time to escape.
I think he was planning on. Oh yeah, right, because she could have escaped. That's right.
He should have just gone and killed Amelia. Like that's what he was there to do.
Yeah.
But they had that funny moment where he ran into Ryan Gosling. You know, like Hey, have you seen that thing? Or did you hear that noise? You know, they were able to do that. So that was fun.
He's like, oh yeah, that was me when I threw that little girl through the window.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only thing I don't know, it's like a thin defense, but I think they say that she was like sleeping in the other room, but it's like, but she probably would have woken up from the noise, right?
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. That's the only like, the only thing that I could think of is like, oh, she's sleeping, so you can go out and get something. I don't know, but
I feel bad pointing out all these flaws in your guys' fucking favorite movie over here.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Does he? Because he has like a briefcase with him. He doesn't. I don't think he's like armed, per se, or maybe.
I mean, I figured he was gonna go in there and like choke her,
poison her,
suffocate her.
Yeah.
It's only when he realized that there might be someone else with a gun in there, or I guess there is, even if she didn't really know how to use it.
Yeah, I have a funny line to share.
Okay.
That I happened to write down. One of the when they get to the party, and one of just like the background characters is walking like towards the camera and then past the camera, and then says something along the lines of, and I told him, like, if you want me to do that, then don't eat the asparagus.
Yeah. I love all of like
subtle.
the background people in the party scene, like Pornocchio is like, it's not my nose that grows.
That's ridiculous.
Or like
shit.
even like the guy on stilts just gets blasted like when Keith David and Russell Crowe are struggling for the gun, and there's like a couple instances of that, of just bystanders getting clipped. Like in the fight with Blueface in his apartment, I think they're kind of struggling with the gun, and they just like shoot the lady across the street.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And we don't check up on her at all.
Shit. All right, well.
And the tree guy who was on stilts, and
Yeah.
Dimitri
Yeah, that's right,
also
yeah.
got shot in the later in the movie at the party.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's just goofy.
The the party scene that mentioned, the part that I mean, again, I think the movie is aware of like what it's doing, but the actor, well, I say that the girl that Ryan Gosling like approaches, and she's got like the big like the chieftain like headdress thing on, and he's like, "Who are you supposed to be?" And she's like, "I'm Pocahontas." I'm like, "Oh my god!" Like, but it's like of course that's what she would be, right? Because it's like, yeah, that's the one that people know, even if that's like not accurate at all. But that's like, hey, that's America for you, and especially the porn industry, I guess. So.
Oh yeah, you could be Strokeahannes. Who knows?
Oh
It's
yeah.
easy.
Or-
Lends itself.
Or Pope hyphen
Yeah.
Ahanas.
Oh yeah. All classic Sid Shattuck films.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Who wants to go first?
Yeah. I'll go first. It's a 10. Duh. I think this is you were expecting, surprising no one. I've seen this movie like 3 times in the last year. I think we watched it around Christmas time. Wealthy showed it, and then I watched it a few days ago for this, and it still makes me laugh pretty consistently throughout every time. I love all the main characters, even the side characters are great. Probably Ryan Gosling's best comedic role / maybe best role. I mean, I'd have to watch like
Crazy
I
Stupid
don't know.
Love.
I'd have to watch
Okay.
Crazy Stupid Love to really make sure. But it's just everything about it. I think it does physical comedy really well. I think the writing is like super tight. The jokes are nonstop, and they're good setups. There's good payoffs for just about everything you can think of. And yeah, like you said, it's a warm blanket of a movie. Like, I just throw it on anytime, and I will probably sit down and watch the whole thing. That's a 10 for me, dog.
Nice.
What about you, TJ?
Yeah, it's 10.
Really?
I'll say
Wow.
if we're being, it's like a light 10. I think it like just kind of cracks that for me. Yeah. Does it make my top amount of movies list of all time? I don't know. But yeah, it is it's just a fun time. I really enjoy the characters, the 2 leads. They just, I think the performances are great. They're written really well. Their chemistry is great, and I think that that's like a make or break thing for this movie. And I
Yeah.
think those guys are both really great in this. And then I love his silly action too. Like Nick said, which I said first. It's the warm
It
blanket
is.
movie.
Yes.
It's one of those kinds. So, it's a 10.
Wow. I'm not giving this movie a 10. Or a 9. Or an 8. Or a 7. I'm giving it a 6.
Okay, that's what I
had.
was thinking.
I had 6 in my head. Yep.
Yeah. This I liked it. It was a fun 2 hours. It was pretty funny. It was a 2-hour-long movie from 2016 that was pretty funny. That's my review of this movie. And that lands
Scathing.
it right there at a 6. Yeah.
Okay. Can I read you Moose's 6 out of 10 review that I had ChatGPT write like an hour ago?
Okay.
The Nice Guys offers a nostalgic trip back to 70s buddy cop films, but it falls short of its full potential. Ryan Gosling and Russell Crowe deliver entertaining performances, but the chemistry feels somewhat forced. Director Shane Black captures the era's atmosphere, but the plot becomes convoluted and lacks cohesion. The humor occasionally falls flat, and some jokes feel forced. While it has its moments, the film misses the mark and leaves you wanting more. Suitable for those seeking a mild dose of nostalgia, but don't expect a standout experience.
Wow.
Oh,
I'm gonna disagree with the part about the chemistry being forced. Cause
their chemistry is great.
Yeah, and I mean, ChatGPT hasn't seen the movie, so I'll cut it some slack. But yeah, this movie was better than that. But it is.
That's pretty crazy how well ChatGPT gets the cadence of like an AV Club writer.
I specifically put a 6 out of 10 review written by Moose from the podcast There Will Be Duds, just to see if there was any sort of, if it could pull anything. I mean, we got 1,000 views on our last episode already, so we got, I'm sure ChatGPT is gonna be hearing about us soon.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Also, I do think, at least for me, and I think for you too, Moose, because I feel like you and I in particular are pretty in line with like the numbers, like how we rate things. I think generally, and what the ChatGPT is pulling from, I think a lot of people consider a 6 to be lower than like you or I would. So that's why I think that feel, like you said, it feels a little like too harsh.
You think so?
I feel like generally people see a 6 and they're like, oh, that's harsh or something. But it's like, yeah, no, I still put that for like a movie that I like, It's,
yeah.
Yeah. Or like people.
Go ahead.
Or like people that are like, reliant on like Rotten Tomatoes are like 60%. That's almost that's like a D.
Yeah.
If you're looking at it that way.
I don't really look at it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. A D movie for me is a 4.
Yeah. Yeah, I would
see
agree
what
with
I
that.
mean? You exactly.
Well,
that's exactly what I would go. That's what I was going to say. That's a D.
Every episode I pull up your rating scale that you put in Discord.
Oh, really?
And I think about it that way. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, that helps.
Because I don't trust myself to quantitatively. Because remember all the arguments that we had about half integer ratings?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking like, okay, this is a movie that's in the 6 group of movies. Because that's how I have to see it. Because I can't think about it on like a rating scale, like a linear 1 to 10. You
gotta get like a Memento style chart.
Yes, I need a chart.
Forwards and backwards.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you follow the chart, and then this movie's a 6.
Yeah.
Not 6.5. God damn it! There are no 6.5s.
I like the Fantano scale, just like a light 6, strong 6. Light 7.
I do think of them in that way sometimes. Like I said in The Nice Guys is like a light 10.
Right. Yeah.
I do kind of like his scale. I definitely do falter a bit. I have gone away from the half integer scores, and I do think that I'm a better person for it.
Yes, you are.
I feel it's really tough. It's tough to say, like to commit to a number sometimes, but like I'm like, yeah, I think that's probably better, probably.
That's funny.
Yeah, I don't know how much time it will take because neither of you watched either of those shows, correct?
Right.
Yeah.
No. But the 3rd season of I Think You Should Leave came out today, and I did watch all of that already. So.
Oh my god.
Wow.
Yeah,
but that's super
I'm gonna
short.
try to make that last.
But
they're like 11-minute long. They're not like long.
They're
episodes.
super short. It's like maybe 2 hours to do the whole season.
Yeah.
I Think You Should Leave.
Yeah. Have you not watched that
I haven't
yet?
heard of this. No.
We don't as much now, but we used to quote this a lot on the show on this.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it'd be worth your time. It is delightfully absurd. Was Tim Robinson was a writer on SNL?
Yeah, he was like a cast member too for a little bit.
Was he?
For like a year or two, very short time.
Think of these as like sketches that probably wouldn't make it onto SNL, but that's like why they're good. They're just completely, they're too absurd and too strange for like,
All right.
Yeah.
I guess that audience.
And super short.
I just
Yeah.
finished The Voice, so that'll be the next show that I watch.
Nice.
Okay, well there you go.
Something to watch for 10 minutes while I eat my dinner or whatever.
That's basically how I watched the season today. It's like while I was doing dishes and stuff and getting ready for school, I threw on a couple episodes before work, threw on a couple after, and boom.
Yeah, there you go.
Nice. It's on
Netflix. It's a Netflix,
Netflix.
Ridge.
Yeah. Netflix is doing that.
The password
sort of
sharing
cracking
thing.
down on that.
Oh yeah.
Password
Yeah,
sharing.
it's weird because Chloe said that she couldn't get it because like I share a Netflix account with my siblings, and Chloe was trying to get into Netflix and she said it wouldn't work. I was like, that's weird. And then I went out there like yesterday and popped it on and like went to play something and they worked fine. So I don't know if it's like.
Here's what I think is happening. I think what happened. So it for a while there, it would pop up and say like, "Is this the main household?" Like
I think she did. I think she saw that.
Yeah, and then did she just like back up because it wasn't her decision to make?
Probably.
That's what my roommate did, and then now since then, maybe like my parents or one of your siblings or somebody, like clicked. This is the main TV. For the house.
Like the household or whatever.
And then if you watch it on, and then if you this is just a hypothesis. Okay, so I don't know if this is true, but then if you watch Netflix on another different TV somewhere else, then they just automatically upgrade you to a more expensive plan.
Oh.
Ugh. Of course.
That's what I'm thinking is happening. That was my roommate's idea. I think it makes
Yikes.
sense.
Yeah, that's pretty shady. Because I know it's like the premium. It's like $7.99 per extra account to share or something like that. It's so stupid. It's so unbelievably stupid. And I don't know. Like on one hand, I kind of get Netflix's point where it's like for every one account, that's like 5 people maximum like watching essentially like for free, I guess. But like they keep raising the prices of it, and it's like I still pay like. I think it's like $6. I have to Venmo my sister every month, so it's like I'm still paying like $6 for it. Like we're splitting it,
Right.
but they just want more. And it's also like I feel like Netflix never publishes their numbers. That's like a thing that they do, and it's like I think other streaming services are proving to be better, namely HBO Max. I refuse to call it Max. That's stupid.
I was gonna say.
It's stupid, and I don't want to call it that anymore. But and I think Netflix like losing, because like the original draw, I think the Netflix is like we have The Office and Friends, we have all of your favorite comfort shows that you can binge, and they keep losing them, and now it's like it's only Netflix original programming, i.e. shows that they greenlight for 2 seasons and then cancel.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like kind of lowest common denominator slop. Like there's good stuff, but I feel like you don't want to talk about AI generated. I feel like if I scroll through Amazon's like new shows, all of these seems like write a like romantic comedy
Well,
or
explain
write
that.
have ChatGPT write me a Netflix original series. But while you're doing that though, the one thing that I did have for the post episode chat, 2 of my I guess more recent favorite shows ended on Sunday. Barry and
show?
Succession. Yeah, this was both the series finale. So if you want to go and binge Barry in Succession, now you can do it, and you won't have to wait another year for another season. But I would say both shows, Succession, I think more so than Barry. I think Succession pretty much landed, like, really well. Like, I think front to back, the show as a whole. I feel weird saying it's like one of my favorite shows of all time. Like, I feel like it doesn't break that echelon for some reason. I don't know, something about it. But I would say the writing and the acting and the music, everything about it is pretty damn good. And season 4, because like my main complaint with the show was that, cause do you know the premise of the show?
No.
It's
like
like
a
it's
spy.
no, it's like
Okay, I don't know.
it's basically a super wealthy family. The head of the family, the patriarch, he's like turning 80. His health is kind of failing, and he has 3 kids that are essentially fighting to be next in line to take over as CEO. And that's kind of the central drama of the entire show, is these 3 kids. And there's just a lot of like backstabbing and betraying and alliances shifting. Like, actually, no, I'm with Dad, and Dad thinks that I should be the next CEO. And then another kid will be like, well, Dad told me that I get to be the next CEO. So the show is very circular in that way, where a lot of it is just like the alliances shifting and people think they're going to get it and then they're not going to get it. And then he's going to retire, but then actually he's not going to retire. And so season 4 kind of you see where all of the characters leave off. I mean, it sounds very basic, but I'm trying to avoid spoilers of any type.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it wraps it up very well. Barry, which is about, it's Bill Hader as like a ex-Marine turned contract killer hitman who moves to LA to try and like assassinate a target and get sucked into an acting school, and then tries to lead this dual life of an assassin slash I want to be an actor and I want to have a family and kids, but also I have all these other things kind of nipping at my heels. That show also ended, and it's a bit, I would say it's a bit weirder, the ending of Barry. I don't know how you'll feel about it at all, TJ. I know you generally like the show. Season 4, he wrote season 3 and 4, I think, together. And I think the end of season 4, I think Bill Hader just kind of wanted the show to be done. Like, I think he was just ready to move on from it. And so I think he's like, yep, it's done. This is the end. So I think overall the ending was pretty good, pretty satisfying. There's a lot of funny things that like Bill Hader has gone on a couple other podcasts to like kind of do episode reviews, and he talks about things that he finds funny about the show that no one else does, because the show is, you know, is billed as like kind of a dark comedy, and like I started to notice those things. I was like, I bet Bill Hader thought that was really funny, even though it's like played completely straight. Like, yeah, you've seen up till season 3, right, TJ?
Yep. Yeah.
There's a part where, so okay, Moose, do you care if I tell you like a little bit?
Go for it.
He eventually gets caught, right? It has to happen.
Yeah.
But there's a part where it's like he's making his first phone call from prison, and he calls Gene Cousineau, and he's like, Mr. Cousineau, did you trick me? It's like, yeah, you moron. That was the whole point of like that setup. But like the fact that he's so naive and still just like, well, why would you do that to me? Even though it's like he's done all this horrible shit. It's still darkly funny. It's not as haha funny as previous seasons. But I really want Bill Hader to direct a horror movie, because there's some stuff in season 4 that kind of goes into that surreal horror stuff. He plays a lot with like light and dark and like absurd, weird shit happening. Like the character of Sally is like haunted by like the motorcycle dude that she kills in season 3. It's one of the more grotesque, like makes me squeamish kills. She like stabs him in the back of the neck, and the blade goes through and pokes him in the back of the eye, and like his eye's bleeding.
Yeah, that's right.
Ouch.
she's like haunted by like visions of this dude essentially, and it's
Okay.
like sometimes it's like blink and you miss it moments where like he's just there in the background kind of shit. It's really spooky and creepy, and I think Bill Hader should hopefully I'd like to see his take on like, you know, do the comedian turned horror director like Jordan Peele, Zach Kreger kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, both shows pretty good. I don't know what I'm gonna watch on Sundays until Righteous Gemstones comes back in a couple weeks.
Okay.
I love Righteous Gemstones. I've only
Yeah,
seen the first season though.
Season 3 comes back in like June, like mid-June, I think.
Where's
So
it on?
HBO.
HBO Max.
It's on
No.
Max.
I'm protesting. Did you whip up a pretty good chat GPT?
Yes, literally, as you
Uh-oh.
said the words when you're talking about Succession, you said these words like as it was writing this sentence. It says, as the series progresses, alliances shift.
Oh,
No, okay, so this is for the hot new Netflix thriller series, Shadows of Deception.
Shadows of Deception.
God damn it!
Shadows of Deception is a gripping and suspenseful Netflix original thriller series that takes viewers on a thrilling journey through the dark underbelly of a mysterious metropolis known as Shadowville.
Known as Shadowville.
In this atmospheric city filled with secrets and shadows, we meet our main characters. 1. Sarah Walker, a brilliant but haunted detective with a tragic past, determined to discover the truth behind a series of disturbing crimes that plague Shadowville. David Monroe, a charismatic yet enigmatic billionaire with a hidden agenda who exerts a powerful influence over the city's political and criminal landscape. 3. Emily Ramirez, a resourceful journalist who becomes entangled in a dangerous game of cat and mouse as she investigates the city's deep-rooted corruption. 4.
There's a journalist.
Alex Turner, a skilled hacker with a troubled past who reluctantly teams up with Sarah to bring down a powerful and elusive criminal organization. And then there's a lot of it wrote a lot, but I'll just skip to the end. As the series progresses, alliance shift, loyalties are tested, and the true extent of Shadowville's corruption is exposed. With its nail-biting suspense, unexpected revelations, and intense cat and mouse chase, Shadows of Deception will keep viewers on the edge of their seats, eagerly anticipating each thrilling twist and turn. In this dark and dangerous world, where shadows hold secrets and truth is a scarce commodity, Shadows of Deception will leave audiences craving for answers and desperate to uncover the shocking truth behind the city's twisted facade. It says the title of the show a lot in the
Shadows of Deception.
yeah. So
God damn.
keep an eye out. See you.
Oh,
Hitting Netflix this July.
Yeah.
Shadows of Deception.
They'll need something to replace Stranger Things once that's done. Why not Shadows of Deception? Cool.
see, that's listening to like the writers talk about like you can't replace human beings, man. You can't replace like writers, man. And then it's like, well, then I don't know. I feel like ChatGPT just basically pitched shows that like Netflix puts out. So just
Yeah.
it's like I get your point, but also this is exactly the kind of
The same
like
quality.
dog shit
Yeah.
that just gets churned out by all of these services.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, do they? So they. I wonder. Like, do they know that their shows kind of suck?
Yeah.
Because like the writer, there's so many people involved in making a show. The writers, the producers, the actors.
Yeah.
The crew, like everybody, just like goes to work every day and makes a show that sucks,
Okay.
and then they get paid, and then like
I think that's the
It's
important part. I think it's a job.
so then who's somebody at the top is just like deciding like cracking up like, oh yeah, this is the best show ever, like, oh my god.
Well, it's
Hit it for another
it's
season.
sort of like it's like pre-ordering like a AAA game, even though every time you order a AAA game, it's incomplete and buggy and shitty, and it has to be fixed months after the game originally comes out. But people keep pre-ordering it because they have to pre-order it. I feel similarly for like all of these, the next hit show that everyone is talking about, well, I have to know what everyone else is talking about.
Yeah.
I have to know what everyone else on Twitter is tweeting about. Like, I do know people that, like, kind of have these easy breezy work from home jobs, and all they do is, like, watch terrible Netflix shows, like, all day long.
Nice.
And it's like, I feel like it's part of, like, feeling like you have to be part of a conversation. So it's just like, oh, I don't know. Even if it's bad, it was only 10 episodes. It wasn't that bad. And, like, I feel like a lot of those shows kind of get a pass because they're bland and inoffensive. And, like, oh, there were a couple good moments, but, you know, it's nothing about it is memorable.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to say I can speak a little bit from personal experience because not TV shows, but the movies that I worked on, the last two, I guess, that I was the most involved with. And I was on the bottom of the totem pole, and I didn't have any, creative input. I didn't write the movies, obviously, or anything like that. But I read the script. They gave scripts to everybody. I read the scripts, and it was pretty obvious to me that they're not good. So I think it's probably a mix of people who, it's not like I was even gonna, the thought didn't cross my mind to be like, I need to talk to them about this. We need to make some improvements on this script. So there's a lot of people like that, right? That are just like, that's not my job. I don't have the power. I'm just gonna do my work and get paid.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of people who are in denial. You could say the shadows of deception are coming from within the house. But yeah, it was. And sometimes when I'm watching movies, I'll be like, oh yeah, maybe like if you're on set and stuff, you kind of get swept up in the work, and like you can't really tell.
Sure.
But God, it was pretty obvious to me, and it was kind of like a backwards, like where I read the script and I was like, for the one movie in particular, the other one I didn't feel like the filmmaking was that great, but the one of them that I worked on, as we were filming it, I'm like, okay, yeah, these seem like, I'm watching the people give the performances, I'm watching them shoot the scenes, and like, the actors they're getting really into their performances, and I'm like, yeah, watching this in person seems like they're doing good. I'm I can see the monitors, the display of like the shots again. I'm like, it looks nice. So I'm like maybe the script isn't good, but it'll be rescued in the final product. But it's not. It's not.
Yeah.
But that's me
you
trying to justify it. I'm like, but maybe me, TJ, my little, I've never worked on a big movie before. Maybe I'm not seeing the whole picture. But yeah.
Yeah.
Are those movies in the cut?
No, I don't want to do that.
You're too close.
I mean, I would feel bad. I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
Even though I don't think any of those people like listen, to this or anything, I would feel bad,
But
but
you still have some loyalty.
I do. I mean, I really the one movie less so, but I also feel like I could get more jobs with them. The other one, I don't feel that, but I love all those people that I worked with. I still, consider them to be my friends and stuff, so I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
You don't want to shit on their movie.
Yeah.
On a podcast.
On my movie too. I mean, their movie more so, but it's one that I guess my name's on it, or my name's in the credits a couple times. It actually made me think, like, in retrospect, like, just how, again, like, being on set and thinking of, like, all these people working on this movie, putting all, we spent 40 of us spent a month of our lives just every day, all day, working on this movie, and it's just not good. and just thinking, like, this is like a micro budget movie, and thinking of how many movies are out there that are like this, how many people there are on these big Hollywood movies that are just as or worse as the ones that I did. And again, they get paid, so I guess that's probably not complaining too much, I guess, but it just kind of puts it in perspective when it's like there are a lot of, you know, hungry young indie filmmakers who are trying to get their shit made, and then you have stuff like this is the stuff that gets made, and it's just so whatever.
Yeah, like a slightly elevated like film school project.
Yeah, kinda. Yeah,
Ouch.
kinda. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of that out there.
Yeah. Not the worst movies I've ever seen by any stretch of the imagination, you know, but
Sure, yeah.
not good either. All right. I'm sorry if anyone's listening. Even now, I'm like, I'm saying too much. But I haven't talked to them. Maybe they would perchance listen to this and be like, "Oh man, that one did suck."
Yeah, maybe it's catharsis for people that are like, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Speaking of movies.
Yeah.
Alright.
Kind of movie. Oh my god. I need to figure out a way that I don't just dump out like 6 movies at once. Because I'm like, but which one is the one that? Which one's the first one that came out? I think it's this one. I'm gonna go with this one. Okay. Let's okay. We are staying away from the those prestige thought-provoking movies that Moose mentioned before, because next week we're going to watch from 2002, directed by Don Coscarelli, Bubba Hotep.
Hell yes. I have not seen this movie in a second.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see if it holds up.
I feel like it will.
Hope so.
I feel like it will.
It's on Tubi, Pluto TV for free, Redbox for free apparently. So nice. It's also
Okay.
it's rental. There's a rental on Amazon Prime or Apple TV, but fuck them. Just go with Tubi.
Yeah.
Don't even fib yourself. Yeah. So we hit episode 100, and now we're like, let's throw out all the art house bullshit behind us.
Yeah, let's go dumpster diving. This is the second one for Don Coscarelli then, because we did
Oh, yeah.
Phantasm as well.
I didn't even think about that. That's funny that he's not a director I would have thought would be like a multiple
Like
time.
a repeat.
yeah,
Yeah.
but I didn't even think about that. Okay, so watch Bubba Hotep at one of those if you don't want to be spoiled for it before next week's episode. These episodes come out every Wednesday at 7 p.m. EST on Twitch and YouTube in video form, as well as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and more in audio form. We also have social pages on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Also, I'll say it again. Peep that YouTube. We're been doing okay. I mean, I referenced it before, and sure, I probably still a lot of it is misclicks or people thinking they're clicking on the movie.
Because it's so long.
But at least it means people are seeing it, right? They're seeing them
Yeah.
pop up when they search the things. And Memento, which is 6 days old as of this recording, is at 1,245 views. From that's kind of cool, even if it is like how much of that is actual views.
It jumped like 400 or 500 like a day after it dropped too. So it was
Yeah.
like, yeah. So yeah, if you see us on YouTube, leave a comment, leave a like. I
Yeah.
don't know. I
We have
feel
been getting
corny
some.
saying all this shit. Yeah. I mean, and if you're listening in audio form, you know, we're up to like 5 reviews on Apple Pods. I don't know. You can't really see
Please.
how many.
Please, just if you don't feel like writing anything, just auto-generate some from ChatGPT.
Yeah. Just do that. Problem solved. So easy.
So yeah, but we get like subscribers like every day too. So it's slow, but it's definitely more. I'm getting shit for it like almost every day, like a new subscriber or like a comment, which is cool. Even if it is just like
That is
one.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's something. It's neat. Never
Yeah.
had any page of anything in mind like with even this amount of traffic. So
Yeah, and
cool.
it's crazy because a lot of our old videos barely break 30 views.
yeah.
Princess Mononoke 26, The Matrix trilogy 35. Like, I don't know when it was, but at some point in time, like, popping off is relative to like how big it's relative to like how big we are, which is like we don't advertise for shit. We don't really have like a decent social media presence, but like, it's hard to do all that shit.
Yeah.
But if you like it, leave a comment, leave a review, do something.
Yeah.
Engage
and if you
with
don't
us.
like it, engage too.
Yeah, really. Yeah.
That's the
It's
scariest
not like
part
anybody
for me.
can see. Nobody can see the dislikes on YouTube now. So
And I'm sure there are. Are there? Oh, I don't even want to know.
there are some. I'll say Finding Neverland, which is our number 1 most viewed video. It has a like percentage of 80% at 23 likes. So what is that, like 4 dislikes?
Yeah, interesting.
5.
Yeah, I just at this point I just assume that it's all bots or like spammers, like Bitcoin shitheads.
Very
But
possible.
yeah, man, that scares the shit out of me though. Just like the idea of like, I want this thing to grow. I would love for this thing to grow and like build a community. But then it's like, I know how other people like get with podcast hosts, especially if like they disagree with a take or something. And it's like, I don't want to have to deal with that ever.
Well, I don't,
because I'm
care.
sure. Well, I'm just saying, I'm sure there's just like some shit that I've said where someone could be like, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about, and that would reaffirm all of my suspicions about myself and my movie opinions.
Oh no.
Good,
Maybe I am an idiot.
good for them. I don't care. I don't know. Anytime people do get that way with like critics in particular, it's like how many times do you need to be reminded? Because like again, Fantano like puts it in all of in the descriptions of every single one of his reviews is, y'all know this is just my opinion, right? It's like that's all it is. I'm not some authority on it. I'm just telling you what movies I like. I like talking about movies. I like sharing movies with my friends, even if they don't even if they think they're just regular movies. So
Yeah.
I like engagement. I'm a film lover in the sense that I just like talking about it. So yeah, bring that like average down if you want.
Well, don't do that. Don't do that.
You can hover over and it tells you 6 dislikes to 23 likes.
Suck my dick, you piece of shit. I hate you all.
All right. And now with all that out of the way, and I was gonna say this before Nick fucking said the whole thing, but I was gonna say it for my outro. I'm Amelia. She's about brown hair. Answers to the Call of the Wild. Just kidding. I forgot her name, but if you see me, just let me know. Just tell me my name, which is TJ, aka Jason Jack Cheese, and with me as always, nobody wants to see your dick, dude. I'm Nick, aka Dr. Funk on Twitch, and with me, as always,
I'm the 14-year-old girl driving my dad around, who's my alcoholic dad around, and then reading out loud to myself at night. And, the remains of my once lived-in house that burned down. Moose, aka Tommy.
All right. No, I can't do it again. We're good at everything except the outros. Like post, we have those send out. We have the, we do our things, and then how do we end it?
That's all,
Hallelujah.
folks.
Bye.